This is a video on how to use a specialty foot to attach buttons using a sewing machine. I made a previous video which has some good general tips about using a button, putting on a button, just using a standard foot. But I think that if you can actually buy this foot, it's well worth the very small cost of about $10 for this foot. Now, I'm going to make a separate video on this, but I just changed the ankle on my old Husqvarna. The old ankle that came originally with the machine was this plastic one, and I have just today upgraded to this metal one, which has a really nice attachment. I like it so much better, and now I can use all kinds of standard feet on my machine. And one of the first ones I got was this button one. Now this actually came off of my old Brother machine, so now I can use all of the feet from my Brother machine on this. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how to use this. Now the one that came with the kit, this button attachment foot, which you'll see maybe on the internet, it's okay, it just has grippy feet. But the thing I like really about the Brother is that it has additional features to make it much more foolproof. In particular, it allows you to place the button in between, and it actually holds it for you. And as you can see, what you do is you're going to attach it like that. Let's pretend like it's actually in this orientation. So you can put the holes right there between the two red dots. And then for spacing, I think in the other video I said you really want to be able to have a little bit of play with the threads, and you don't want to sew it directly onto the fabric because it'd just be a little too tight. So they have this little I don't know what you call it, but slider, and it slides down, and it just creates a little tiny bit of height there so that when you do the zigzag over that extension, this piece here, this extra little hump, it creates just that little bit of play. So you don't have to use a hump jumper either. So this is all in one, and it doesn't require any of the kind of jerry rigging I did in the previous video, even though that's the way I did it for a long time before I got this fancy new foot. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to use this on the machine. Now, I've actually put it in. I suppose you could do it that way, is actually line it up ahead of time. This foot requires you to kind of hyperextend to get under there because it's just a little bit tall. And then I'll put my new foot on. It's already lined up here. And as I mentioned before in the previous video, you need to first of all disengage the feed dogs. So I'm going to do that by using this lower knob and turning it all the way to the right to where it shows the mountains. And then that lowered those feed dogs so that it's not going to keep trying to feed fabric because we want this button to be stationary. Okay, the second thing you do is you choose the zigzag stitch, which is already on. And the way that this is oriented is with the zigzag, let me make sure I've got on zigzag, is that the right side will fit into the right hole. You want to get it so that it fits in the right hole. And as I mentioned in my previous video, it is perfectly fine to just use the hand wheel to do this, just to make sure, because you don't want to break a needle doing this. So the right one is going to go into the right hole. I'm using my hand wheel. And now I'm going to change my stitch width to match the size of the buttonholes and just kind of line it up. In my mind, this looks like it's about a 3. So I'm putting it down. It looks good. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now if I want to, I can go ahead and use the machine. And then I'm going to turn it to a 0 to lock stitch it on the right. And now when I raise it, always raise it to the top. Now when I take this out, I'm going to pull this little lever out, which gave it the space. And there is the button. And as you can see, it gave it just that little bit of play here. You can see there's a little bit of space there so that you can get your button in and out of the buttonhole. So perfect. I highly recommend this foot. It's the Brother M.